Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka the man of the people, back on the East Coast. It was a quick trip in and back in it. I can't even talk, so I guess it was too quick of a trip. But nevertheless, I'm acclimated with the time zone change. I made sure when I was out there to stay on East Coast time, so I'm good to go. Tonight, let's talk about it. That is the name of the show where you call in. You direct the questions and answers for tonight's show. So whether you want to use the call-in feature, which there's a link that's in the description. I'm also going to pin one in the comments right now. And then also we can work through the comments as well. But there's no agenda for this show other than whatever it is that you all would like to talk about. So give me a second to pin this into the comments so that people can easily find it that are joining us. And we're going to talk about these Carolina Panthers and what they will or will not be. Get this out here properly. There we go. So we now have that pinned into the comments for anybody that wants to get something off your chest. Tell me what you think and ask a question. I'm sure there are lots of opinions out there about what may be going on with this Carolina Panthers team. As we give you all a moment to log in, get your cell phones ready, get your computers ready to dial in and talk. Let me get my earpiece ready, because that's what happened to me last time I didn't have my earpiece ready. I do have some updates that I want to share that are extremely important regarding some of the injuries that took place yesterday toward the end of the game. Let me put this in here. So the Carolina Panthers, wrong ear. Get it right, Chris. Get it right. We had a few injuries to our offensive line yesterday. And we got an update on those two injuries today. Let's talk about it.
So Robert Hunt has a torn biceps, and he's going to be going on IR. We're going to leave the window open for him to be able to return, but it's going to require surgery, so he'll be out for a while. Austin Corbett had an MCL at the end of the game, and he'll also go to IR with the possibility of returning. So two studs, two guys that we count on in the locker room, on the field.
All right, I was looking for my sound effects. I got to get my sound effects back right, but that's not good. What is this sound right here? That's not what we want. All right, we're not going to. Yeah, that's not it either. But yeah, Austin Corbett, who I reported yesterday was not too happy about his knee, has that injury, so he's going to be on the IR, which means he is going to be out for at least 4 weeks. And Dave was not saying they didn't have information to know whether or not it's going to be season ending or whether it's going to be surgery required. He said he does feel like right now that these guys, both of them, can come back. Just feels like he'll be able to know more once they have the procedure done, whatever procedures may be necessary for either one of those guys, and then see how they start to recover, whether or not they're going to be back. I know for Austin Corbett, man, it's the same knee that he's injured in the past. He's a big man, right? So there, you would have to think for a man that size, there's a lot of stress on those bones, and when you hurt ligaments like that, that is not something that you want to rush back, especially if you wanted to continue to have this guy recover from the injuries that he's had in the past. It just does not seem like you would go to rush to bring him back. No different than Jonathan Brooks. Gosh, I hope I got that name right, for our running back that we drafted last year, who got hurt, who was hurt when we got him. Got hurt last year, and it's like, pretty much assumed that he's going to be out for the entire season. On the other end, you have Robert Hunt, who tore the bicep. First time he's done something like that. And I feel like he is much more possible to come back during that 4 week plus time period than you want to rush and bring back Corbett. Arm's certainly important, but it's certainly not as strong and needed as the knee, which is the anchor of all those, that way for those 300-pound guys. So some tough news from a group that we were excited to be coming back. Now, granted, they had not given us the results so far this season that we thought we would have with run. The run game has been terrible. He hadn't been able to get it going there. Bryce has not been sacked too much, but he's certainly been under a lot of pressure over the first 2 games. So now you lose Corbett, which from the standpoint of a lot of people were wanting Cade Mays to come back in there anyway after that first game with Corbett. So I don't feel like you're going to see a drop off there with Corbett and Cade. You may see an improvement perhaps with that young guy getting in there at center. And then for Robert Hunt, you're going to have Chandler Zavala come out. Now certainly there's going to be a drop off with Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt's an All-Pro. He was a Pro Bowler last year. First time he's made it. He was looking at building on top of that. I forget the name of the award that they had came up with that's new for the NFL this season. He was hoping to get it. So Chandler Zavala, though he may be quite serviceable, will absolutely not be a Robert Hunt at that position. But we hope that he continues to develop well and give us some good results and some protection for Bryce. We do have some comments coming in. You guys are a little slow tuning in tonight. It's always going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time that I will do my day after show. It's called Let's Talk About It. And it's a show 100% dedicated to answering your questions and your comments, or just being your therapist for football. All right. So we got some few questions here that have already come in. We're going to touch on them. What's going on, Christian Marple? Did I do your name right? Hopefully I did. Appreciate you tuning in, checking us out. I know tonight may be a little slow for you guys joining because there's actually 2 Monday night football games. Tampa and Houston playing right now, and then the later game is got a little bit of the traveling catching up to me. I forget who the late game is. Let's go over here to B Stallion for a second. Take a look at that picture while I need a camera adjustment. All right, so B Stallion says, "Hey Chris, the strength of the team was to be the O-line. Now with the injuries, what do you think is the answer? Can anyone help Xavier Legette do anything to improve? What's the status of Coker's return? Keep pounding." B Stallion loaded up all the questions in one comment. I'm not mad at you. Not mad at you at all. Give me just a second. I just got word that our photo gallery from yesterday's game has been completed, though some people may not be too eager to take a look at it. But I want to take a quick peek at it. Oh, look at this. This is a great picture, my man. 1 second. Ah, very cool, very cool. All right. So let me get back to it. So the strength was supposed to be the O-line. Now with the injuries, what do you think is the plan? So I don't feel like there's going to be a big drop-off, as I was saying, going from Corbett to Mays. And then you got Zavala that's going to be taking the place of Robert Hunt. Now, as I said, even with those guys being there, these first 2 games in Jacksonville and then in Arizona, you really had not been getting what you thought that you were going to get out of that offensive line anyway. So there's already a need to find the answer to try to get a run game, which is what Coach Canales wants the basis of this team to be. So you're going to have to get more creative with your play calling, more strategic with your schemes and how you line up things and how you set things up to get that run game going. And that's just the answer, right? You got to find a way to change up what you're doing to get some results there. The players are who they are. I don't feel like, since we brought all of these guys back, they are guys that are capable of doing the job, but there's something missing. And again, I'm going to go back to the scheme and the ways that you're calling plays to try to get those things set up. I know yesterday there was a few things like, why did we run that play? But and sometimes it's just a stubbornness, right? Sometimes it's a mentality that you got to make sure that offensive line has to just be dirty, gritty maulers and knocking people over. And sometimes you may just have to say, we're going to run the ball and we're going to force our will on this on this team so we can get what we want done and start to wear these guys down. Now, you still got to have a balance because you can't run a. I had Chuba's run chart. Let me see if I can quickly bring that up and share that with you guys. So this is not going to fit perfectly on the screen, but you guys will be able to see this a little bit. Sorry for all the graphical mess there. But you see, here's Chuba's run chart. Let me see if I can do this here. Make that a little bit bigger. But here's Chuba's run chart from yesterday. And as you can see, he only had looks like one tackle for a loss. And all the other ones were just not even 2 or 3 yards. He tried going to the left. He tried going to the right. He didn't run any straight up the center. And then had a few successes to the right-hand side as well. 10 carries. So, again, maybe it's just keep doing it. Keep doing it. But unfortunately, the other part of it is when you get behind, extremely quickly, 10-0 would end up being even bigger. Then you got to start going to the run game, and then you got to start doing some different things in a run. So, yeah, so that's the first part of the question there is scheme, and just got to be willing to impose your will on these guys. Can anyone help Xavier Legette to improve? Good question. Here's Coach Canales on Xavier Legette.
I believe in Xavier. This is a guy that I truly believe, because of the way he's wired, the way that he works at it, the way that he continues to train. He had a great week of practice. He played better. He had some opportunities on the field where the ball didn't go his way. I tried to get him a few early touches. They didn't amount to much, but as the game kind of went on, a few of the other targets, they were close plays. He didn't make them, but I think it's a matter of just finding opportunities. I believe in him. I believe that, he's approached this the right way and just continues to work. So I'm going to continue to encourage him and be in his corner and push him to, keep striving for that and keep working on his chemistry with Bryce.
So, yeah, I think that's a key. And, the hot take yesterday is, that graphic about the second player in NFL history to have, I believe, 8 targets and negative yardage. It's like, whoa. This guy is terrible. How long is he going to last? Like, should he even be out there? That's, when I heard that, I was thinking that as well. But then I went back and I watched the film before coming online with you guys today. Hey, I'm just going to give it to you straight. That was not all on Xavier Legette at all. Those 8 attempts or however much. Let me just see, because I got a computer right here in front of me, right? Let me see how many attempts they said that he had. And then I'm going to tell you what I think about some of that. Let's see. Oh, by the way, the late game was Las Vegas Raiders and Los Angeles Chargers. But let's quickly go to Legette's from yesterday. All right, here we go. So he had, 8 targets. 1 catch on 8 targets. 1 catch on 8 targets. But I'm going to tell you, absolutely, 2 of those balls, maybe 3, he had absolutely no chance. One of them was a ball that was batted down at the line of scrimmage, but it was intended for Xavier. That doesn't count. Another one was, it was short. It bounced in the ground clearly before it got to Xavier. That's 2 that doesn't count. And I don't remember the details of it, but there was a third play where I'm like, he had no chance. So you immediately, as a coach, you're going to take away those 3 because they weren't on Xavier. That was on the lineman, that was on Bryce, and that was on Bryce. Xavier had no chance. So you say, okay, I'll take away those 8 and take them down to 5. And then on absolutely 2 of those plays, he was defended very, very well. It was not like balls are coming right into his hands. He's wide open and he's dropping or doing something like he did last week in Jacksonville, where he just didn't even get the catch because he didn't do the toe drag. So not to say that he may not do things better to get himself in a position to make catches. But certainly, one of the others, it would have been a touchdown, kind of, sort of. But Bryce sailed the ball too high and it went over everybody's head, but Xavier was the intended target. So you look at it in that totality, and then you got to say, well, now I'm not as mad as what it seems when you see this graphic out there that says first player to have -2 yards on 8 targets in the NFL. Way to go, Xavier. Now, Coach talked about trying to get him the ball. You could tell he was trying to get him the ball. Now, I'm not a fan at all of them trying to get him the ball quickly to run. I don't feel like that's his game. I'm not a fan of any jet sweeps to Xavier. I don't feel like this guy's not quick like Jimmy Horn Jr. He's fast, he's big, but save that for I'd even prefer Hunter Renfrow. I mean, man, have you seen this guy's footwork? I'd rather give me a guy like that may not be as quick as Jimmy Horn, but he can do some razzle dazzle with his feet and still get some yards after the catch, which I'm sure is what we're trying to do. So, and then you have one more question to that. What's the status of Coker's return? So he's on IR. He has to be out 4 weeks, Jalen Coker. He has been at practice doing some things on the side, so there's not active reporting on him, but from visually seeing him out there, he is progressing, and I could assume that he will continue to progress in a manner that will have him ready at the end of 4 weeks. And we got a super chat. We got to get to the super chats. As you guys know, independent media 100% supported by your contributions. We are still trying to get Mr. Jenkins to Green Bay and San Francisco. So if you guys are able to contribute, I'll often say it, if everybody watching gives just $1, we get 1,000 views easily on videos. I could get there. So please consider doing so. Let me find the super chat sound effect. Here we go.
Super chat.
L's Way. Bryce and T-Mac have great chemistry. We need a wide receiver too. Yes. So pregame yesterday, I mentioned that Tetairoa needed 80 yards about to become the leading rookie receiver with the most yards through 2 games. I know I'm not saying that as short as I could be, but the most yards by a rookie after 2 games. There you go. Previously, it was Kelvin Benjamin, thanks to Tetairoa's 100-yard game. Now he is your leading rookie receiver after the most yards for a rookie receiver after 2 games. So, do they have chemistry? Absolutely. He was targeted 10 times. A lot of these guys got targeted. I mean, Bryce threw the ball 53 times. Gee whiz. Yeah, but he was targeted 10 times, caught 6, and had 100 yards. So definitely some chemistry there. Definitely something to be excited about and continue to look forward to. I'm a little nitpicky on all of his one-handed grabs. Unless I need to try to talk to him in the locker room Wednesday about this. But, man, I feel like sometimes he could go with it for 2. But I don't know if his thing is going to be like, I'm going to be using that one other hand to create space all the time. And I'm going to make it worth it to go for it with one hand more often than 2 because I'm always going to ensure that I get that space. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I'll ask him. I'll report that back to you guys. But Ellsworth, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. And yes, absolutely, Bryce and Tetairoa have some chemistry. We got to get Hunter Renfrow going as well. I think he's our number 2. He was second in targets yesterday with 9 targets, and he had 54 yards. So a lot of his stuff was shorter, which I'm not mad about. So I like Hunter Renfrow a lot. Glad that he was been able to be out there. We got him. I'm not happy that Coker went down, but there's a benefit now when you get Coker back. Coker, Renfrow, Tetairoa. We shall see. Appreciate the comment there. Bryce really hurt us yesterday. 6-26 record at the end of the season. If we have to pick, moving on with Canales or Bryce, who are you picking? Canales or Bryce? What call? Does not seem to suit Bryce. All right, Christian, I can't fully, honestly say I interpreted that full comment completely, But if you want to say, who do we move on from, Bryce or Canales? I would say Bryce. Your quarterback, because to me, Bryce is a gamble anyway with his attributes. And let me think. Bryce or Canales? Man, I feel like Bryce has some good attributes. And maybe if he got to a different location, he would be fine, better. And Canales could stay here in Carolina and continue to build some things. Man, that's a tough question. I'm going to plead the fifth. I can't answer it. I tried to go through it. So in this regard, I don't know, Christian. Good question there. I can't get it out. Hey, Chris, has anyone in media asked about the absence of Jimmy Horn Jr.? What do you mean about the absence of him? He's been inactive for the past 2 games. And I can tell you why he's been inactive. He can't contribute on special teams. And if you're going to be, forget what number, probably want to say the 5th wide receiver that's active on game day, then you got to be able to contribute on special teams. And right now, our running backs are doing that. And I don't think they want to go from the 3 running backs that they seem to want to have active every Sunday, which is what they've done in the past. We had Raheem Blackshear, who was that guy in the past, that would be that running back that's also on special teams. And Jimmy Horn doesn't quite fit that. So I think it's going to be a challenge to see Jimmy Horn active on a Sunday this season, unless there's some injuries that start to mount up at the wide receiver position. Appreciate your question, Mrs. Rand Douglas. Give me a second here, guys. Rico Dowdle. He didn't have much luck against the run yesterday either. All right, let's get back to these questions here. Inside linebacker play is going to be a weak point with the current roster. I agree. Love that we battled back. Yeah, that battle back was good. Even though I got to watch it more closely. Some people out there are saying they were in the prevent. A lot of times saying Bryce is the all-star prevent defense. I do feel like when I was watching the games, some things, you can't see when you're watching the game. At least I don't see everything. I don't claim to do so. But I knew while watching that game live that it just seemed like the Cardinals were softening up their defense and saying, just keep everything in front of you. Not like 20 yards in front of you, prevent, but just keep everything in front of you. Let them run out the clock. Their drives in the second half were all very long. I think both teams only had 1 possession in the third quarter. They had 1 possession apiece. And not until deep into the fourth quarter, they started to have multiple. So yeah, in the third quarter, the Cardinals had a 9-play, 5-minute drive. The Panthers had a 14-play, 7-minute drive. Both of that took up the entire quarter. And we played through the half of the fourth quarter with the same kind of deal. Big drive, big long drive for both teams. Cardinals 6 minutes, and then the Panthers 5 minutes before then they started speeding up and having some shorter possessions. So but it was a good battle back, but certainly you saw a big difference once the Panthers got the ball back after the onside kick. And I forget how many plays it was. I think it was about 7, in which we had an opportunity to do something to score. Actually, it was 8. We had 8 plays, 0 completions. 0. So to me, that kind of does confirm the hunts. And again, I have to go back and watch the video closely, that they had said, okay, we got a big lead. Let's just let the clock run out. Just don't give up any big plays. And then once they got to that onside kick recovery, like, oh no, we got to go. We got to get this up. And so they locked it down tremendously. They locked it down at that point. What's going on, Christopher Johnson? Appreciate you tuning in. What is our success rate on running the zone from the gun and must get downs? It's where we struggled in the second point. I don't have the answer for that, Tyler. That is a homework question for me right there. I don't have the answer for that, but I appreciate the question. And Coker is the 2 when he returns. Yep. No. Coker was 3. Legette was 2. So that's how it was previous. So we shall see. All right. So I don't have any further questions that are coming in right now. I will give you guys an opportunity for a few more questions. And while I give you that opportunity for a few more questions, I am going to give you a bonus photograph that our photographer just sent to me that I think is cool to share. Let me get this in front of me. Let's see here. Now this is not going to perfectly fit on the screen, but this is a very good caption this kind of picture right here. Look at this picture. Look at that picture, man. Darren Bates, I think he's our special teams assistant. I know he's not the primary special teams guy, but Darren Bates and Brad Isaac. Is it Isaac or Isaac? But our offensive coordinator just obviously wanting some explanation for what's going on there in the game. So that is an awesome picture that we have from the game yesterday. And I'll give you all another minute. Like, again, I know that there's a game going on, so that may have a few of you slow to join us tonight for watching the divisional matchup, but divisional foe, Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Houston Texans. Currently, that game is tied at 7 apiece with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. We will continue our one-on-one interviews this week. We've knocked 2 rookies out so far. One is Mitchell Evans, the other was Nick Squirton. So if you have not seen those videos, be sure to go over to our YouTube channel. Check out our one-on-one playlist, and you will see those interviews there with Mitchell Evans and Nick Squirton. We're going to continue that this week. Might try to knock out 2 of them, but definitely will knock out 1. As always, if you have any questions that you want us to ask specifically to these rookies, just let me know, and I will do my best to get those questions asked to them. I don't see any more questions. I understand. We're going to go ahead and cut it here. Each and every day after the game, we'll do our Let's Talk About It show, where it's dedicated 100% to your calling in, your comments, your questions, your criticisms, your therapy. I am here for it all. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.